Hurt, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good example of why you don't, at least with your top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You don't let a guy you think is going to be potentially a starting quarterback for you be playing baseball as well.
Isn't over at UCF? Isn't John Rice Plumlee playing?
Oh,
baseball
he's another one.
Yeah.
And
he did that at Ole Miss too.
Ethan, when you look at friend of the pod, Greg McElroy, naming his top 5 SEC coaches, and Josh Heupel made that list, do you agree? Like, it was something that I thought about. I'm like, man, I guess he is at this point through 2 years. I think it's hard to make the case against him. Did that feel right when you saw it? And do you agree with the sentiment that Heupel has done enough to be considered a top 5 coach in this conference?
To be 100% honest, and it sounds totally crazy, I think he's too low. I think he's done more with what he had than what Kelly or Kiffin have both done, in my opinion. I think he's behind only Saban and Kirby. I'd say it goes Kirby Smart, Saban, probably Heupel, and then Kelly and Kiffin. You can just do a toss up. Like probably Kiffin just because he's been here longer. But it's kind of because. I mean, like, for example, Brian Kelly over at LSU. LSU won a title in 2019. Best football team, arguably, of all time. Right there next to the Miami team in 2001. One of the best football teams of all time. They, at the very least, have talent down there in Louisiana State, wanting to come and play there. Tennessee had nothing. Maybe not nothing, but they were bad. They were very bad when Josh Heupel takes over. And from what he's done that fast to a loss to South Carolina away from being in the college football playoff, just, year 2, that's incredible stuff. Lane Kiffin, I get it. Kiffin beat Tennessee last year, but what is Kiffin and Ole Miss done that's better than what Tennessee has done this season alone? And
he did win his first 10-win season ever in Ole Miss history. I'm okay with Kiffin ahead of Heupel right now. I don't really have much. I think they're actually pretty even. Like if you just said 4A, 4B,
I'd say Kiffin is the number 4 in my opinion. But I haven't been convinced that he's head and shoulders above Heupel by any means. I think they're right.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I guess I could kick him down to 4 simply because Kiffin beat Tennessee in Knoxville last season, but that was also year 1 under Heupel. I mean, it's kind of unfair to compare those. Like if you put year 3 Heupel against year 3 Kiffin, if you could do that, I'd go with Heupel all day long. I'd go with this Tennessee team all day long.
I don't know. I saw how the Joe Milton experience ended against Ole Miss last time.
I don't know. We'll see this year, I guess. But I think Heupel doesn't deserve enough credit, in my opinion, for what he's done with this Tennessee program. We forget we were supposed to be nothing for the next 4 years, guys.
Ryan, is he? Where's your top 5? If you had to do it right now, what is it?
This is funny because I remember I did talk about this on some talk radio when his new contract came out, and look, to me, I think I see it pretty similar to you, Chase. It's Saban, Kirby 1 and 2, and to me, I'm going Brian Kelly 3, not necessarily just from what he's done at LSU, but what he did at Notre Dame. His whole pedigree, I guess. And then to me, Kiffin and Heupel are pretty darn even. When you look at what they've done, and certainly Tennessee's a better job, but to Ethan's point, exactly like Tennessee was not a very good job when Heupel took over, and I think, my question would be, or what I'll be curious to see, Lane Kiffin, great 10-win season with Matt Corral, big letdown last year. Maybe not a huge letdown, but at least a big drop in wins when he had Jackson Dart. To me, that's the question for Josh Heupel. Hendon Hooker was phenomenal. He was great in 2 years. Obviously, I don't mean to say Heupel didn't deserve a ton of credit for making him great, but what did he do with Joe Milton? We saw what Joe Milton was in 2021. If Tennessee can go out and win 9-10 games with Joe Milton and he plays at a high level, then I'd say, Heupel probably should be higher on the list. He should be above Kiffin. But time will tell on that. I mean, it's just 2 years for Heupel and only 5 years as a head coach as a whole. So it's a pretty, generally speaking, a small sample size compared to a lot of these other guys. And I do think the one thing that I would knock Kiffin on, or I don't even know if knock's the right way, just the way he goes about. To me, he relies too much on the portal for my liking. If I was hiring a head coach, and maybe part of that is just the Ole Miss aspect of it, and they don't have their NIL. It doesn't compare to the other top teams in the SEC, so maybe that's just simply what he has to do. Maybe if he got another bigger job, if he had gone to Auburn, it would be different.
Yeah.
But that would make me a little more wary. I like the way Heupel goes about roster building more than Kiffin has at Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's fair. Brent Hubbs had 3 offensive questions. Friend of the pod, Brent Hubbs. Ethan, do you agree with these 3? And of the 3, which is the biggest one for you? Who can play right tackle to replace Darnell Wright? How big of an impact can McAllen Castles make at the tight end spot? And who is the leader of this group to fill that that void that I think a lot of national folks, even some Tennessee folks, are overlooking when it comes to Hendon Hooker's departure from this program, Ethan?
I think the best question of Hubbs' 3 is who fills the leadership void, because Hendon Hooker, he's the heart and soul of the team. He's the Zakai Zeigler of the Tennessee football team. He's the reason Tennessee went as far as they did last season. And take that away, to Ryan's point just a second ago, the big question mark is Joe Milton. If Joe Milton comes out and he's average, Tennessee's going to win ceiling 8 games. If he's a superstar, they're going to go further than that. And that's the main question. It's the quarterback. It's honestly the question of Tennessee football the past 20 years is if the quarterback's decent, Tennessee football is probably going to be pretty decent. So, and it doesn't necessarily need to be quarterback, I guess. It's just who is going to lead this Tennessee. You don't have Jalen Hyatt anymore. You don't have Cedric.